Hello and welcome. This is your guide to the maritime sector here in Nigeria, brought to you courtesy NIMASA. This is NIMASA This Week. I'm your captain, Cordelia Obey. Inter-agency collaboration in the maritime sector is getting better. The heads of the various parastatals in the maritime sector held their second meeting recently. Top on the burner will be the ports in Nigeria operating 24 hours. Aside that, they also looked at intermodal transportation, how to make it work better. And with that, we'll be serving you a brief on what the Ministry of Transportation is doing in connecting the ports to functional rails in the country.
Introducing the new face of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA. We are charting the direction for a maritime and regulating the industry for a better, bigger, and more economically stable Nigeria. Evolved to serve you better. We are NIMASA. New face, rejuvenated service. NIMASA. Changing the tides in your favor.
We start off today by sharing with you that Nigeria has gotten her first conviction under the Suppression of Piracy and Other Maritime Offences Act of 2019. This brought smiles to the faces of stakeholders, and the DG NIMASA, Dr. Bashir Jamo, has said that those who are involved in illegalities on Nigerian waters should have a rethink because
the Federal High Court in Port Harcourt has convicted 3 persons accused of involvement in the hijack of an Equatorial Guinea flagged vessel named MV Elobe, the 6th off Equatorial Guinea's coast on March 21. Delivering judgment, Justice Mohammed Sani summarily convicted Binaibi Johnson, Daniel Lamar, and Gane Gordon on counts 1 and 2, and they were ordered to pay a fine of 20 million naira each under the new Anti-Piracy Act of 2019. The Nigerian Navy had arrested 9 persons, namely Binaibi Johnson, Daniel Lamar, Gane Gordon, Hassan Hakim, Gregory Smith, Ofem Uket, John Mark, Chidi Amadi, and Eze Amadi, who were suspected to be members of the kidnapping syndicate. They were said to have demanded a $2 million ransom, out of which $200,000 was eventually paid. During the proceedings in the courts on August 10, Binaibi Johnson, Daniel Lamar, and Gane Gordon pleaded guilty to counts 1 and 2 and not guilty to counts 3 to 5, while the remaining 6 accused persons pleaded not guilty to the charges against them. The prosecution counsel, Labaran Magaji, who spoke to newsmen outside the court, said the judgment was a landmark victory for the anti-piracy law. They were charged under Section 16, subsection 4 of the anti-piracy law, and once the charge was read to them, they pleaded guilty. And the prosecution actually applied to the court to summarily convict them to pay a fine of 20 million naira each, and only 3 of the defendants were actually sentenced, Magaji said. The conviction is the first since the signing into law of the SPOMO Act in June last year by President Muhammadu Buhari. The International Maritime Bureau has also welcomed the development. The IMB spokesperson Cyrus Moody told the British Broadcasting Corporation that it is the deterrent which was lacking. Meanwhile, the Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, Dr. Bashir Jamo, described the conviction as a signal that Nigeria is on the right path in the war against piracy and other crimes on the nation's waterways. Dr. Jamo said NIMASA, as an interested party, will continue to work closely with other agencies of government, international community, and other stakeholders to achieve improved security in the Gulf of Guinea.
Our main target now is for us to change the narratives in terms of negativity of the Nigerian positions in terms of maritime insecurity in the country, not only within our own territorial waters, but also beyond the exclusive economic zones, also the Gulf of Guinea.
Talking now to the meeting of the heads of government parastatals in the maritime sector. They held their second session recently at the headquarters of NIMASA here in Nigeria. At the meeting, they collectively agreed on how to get Nigeria to a 24-hour port operation status. They also talked about intermodal transportation in the maritime sector. These and other things were looked at.
As they walked into the NIMASA boardroom, they had one thing on their minds: exploring collaboration to achieve optimum performance for the Nigerian maritime industry. The monthly meeting, which was second in the series, was attended by the Managing Director of the NPA, Ms. Hadiza Bala Usman, the Executive Secretary, Nigerian Shippers Council, Mr. Hassan Bello, the Managing Director of the Nigerian Inland Waterways, Mr. George Mogalu, Registrar Council for the Regulation of Freight Forwarders in Nigeria, CRFFN, Mr. Sam Nwako, and Rector, Maritime Academy of Nigeria, MAN, Oron Commodore Duja Emma Efedra retired, who joined via Zoom. The Director General of NIMASA, Dr. Bashir Jamo, chaired the meeting. After about 3 hours closed-door session, the chairman briefed the press. He disclosed that they agreed to work on modalities for a quick commencement of 24 hours operation at the ports. Dr. Jamo also disclosed that the meeting discussed issues bordering on maritime safety and security, port efficiency, intermodal transportation, as well as synergy among agencies in the sector.
The issue of multimodal approach system, the committee agreed to look into the inland waterways system by use of barges in transporting our own cargo into the different dry ports. NIWA is being charged with the responsibility of ensuring the operationality of inland waterways mode of transportation. And we agree that we are going to co-opt the Nigerian Railway Corporation to be part of this meeting.
The NIMASA DG also noted that the meeting constituted a committee to produce a work plan for the 24-hour port system and agreed to carry communities around the port environments along in order to ensure safe operations within the port vicinities and beyond.
The Committee of the Chief Executives observed that port efficiency and effectiveness in any country cannot be achieved without 24 hours port operation system. What we did, we agreed that we are going to have a committee that will look into the operationality of the port community system, whereby the community will have say on whatever we do in the Nigerian maritime domain. During our last meeting, myself and MD-MPA, we agreed that NIMASA should go ahead and commence the process of removing wrecks within our territorial waters. You can see the entire act, the 3 acts establishing NIMASA, NIWA, and MPA, give each one of us powers to do that. But neither the MD-MPA nor the MD-NIWA is contesting who should remove wrecks. They allowed NIMASA to go ahead with this. That is another milestone of achievement.
Speaking at the session, Managing Director of Nigerian Ports Authority (NPA), Hadiza Bala Usman, also emphasized the need for intermodal transport system in and around the port environment. Ms. Hadiza said Nigeria must prioritize intermodal transportation to reap the benefits of shipping and port activities.
I would like to emphasize that no port access can be efficient without intermodal transportation system. That is key. You must have rail, you must have inland waterways, you must have liquid pipelines being evacuated, liquid bulk being evacuated by pipelines. That is the only way you can have a seamless access into a port. Some of the key issues we discussed with NIWA today is the need to have expansive utilization of the inland waterways. We have certain consignees that have an average of 1,000 containers coming to the port every month. And this consignee is willing and very anxious to have those cargo moved from Lagos to Onitsha using barges. So that is what we need to do to solve the issue of Apapa gridlock. We also are looking at ensuring that the rail evacuation of cargo is done efficiently. In the last few months, Nigerian Shepherds Council was with Nigerian Railway Corporation on fast-tracking the existing rail tracks we have. But more so is the need to conclude building of the tracks that have been, I think, slowed down due to the pandemic. But that is an integral part of decongesting Apapa.
The Executive Secretary, Nigerian Shippers Council, Barrister Hassan Bello, said the new synergy among the heads of maritime agencies was a significant building block for efficient economic activities within the country's maritime domain. Bello said the ultimate aim was to make Nigeria a maritime hub in Africa through efficient and effective maritime operations and infrastructure.
The purpose of this meeting is to make the port better. We are going to have a digital port. We are going to have a contactless port. We are going to have a paperless port. And we have already put in the targets. We are setting up a committee to look at how do we digitalize our ports. By the last count, 63% of transactions are done online at the ports. And we have got all the processes.
Well, it's good to know that the chief executives of these parastatals in the maritime sector place premium on the fact that intermodal transportation is key in the improvement of the maritime sector. With that in mind, we'll be bringing you up to speed with what the Ministry of Transportation is doing to ensure that this comes into reality. The work that has been done to connect the rail from Lagos to Ibadan and also connect same to Apapa Port. Now, there was a tour by the Minister of Transportation, Right Honorable Rotimi Amechi, and he invited the Minister of Information to join him on that tour. We'll be sharing with you now sights and sound from that particular tour by the Minister.
This coach we are riding on came in during the COVID period and we are put into use. It's comfortable and very convenient, and it's a modern coach, and we hope and we'll put it to use, and Nigeria will make a good use of it and also ensure that you're not just using it and also protect it.
They will start on skeletal operation as from end of September. That is all the way from Lagos to Ibadan.
We want to bring efficiency, the rail will do it. We want to cut the cost of transport, the rail will do it. We want social integration, the rail will do it. Easy access, movement of cargo will do it. But more importantly, the export. We need access to the port, because our export products are perishable. They are temperature sensitive. And sometimes access to the port takes a long time. But with the rail, it goes.
There's no better way to answer Nigerians as to what we have done with the money we borrowed all over the world than this trip. You have seen that this trip, you've seen firsthand yourselves. The stations, rolling stock, the people at work, and the fact that this is a project that will outlast virtually all of us here.
Do you know who a seafarer is? Seafarers are the people who make the world go round. Seafarers are people who have been employed to work on the ships. They ensure smooth sailing of the ship while making sure that goods and services get to us from every part of the world. And despite the COVID-19 pandemic, this set of people are still working for the benefit of everyone. Wow! Let us celebrate these special people, as they are the people who truly make the world go round.
This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA.
The Nigerian Ports Authority has successfully berthed the biggest container vessel to call on any port at all here in Nigeria. The Maersk Line Staddlehorn vessel, a container vessel with length overall of 300 meters, width of 48 meters, was received at the Federal Ocean Terminal FOT Onne in Rivers State. The vessel, which has a capacity of 9,971 TEU, is a flagship from Singapore. The vessel, which was brought in from Farewell Buoy Bonny with the aid of 3 tugboats operated by 3 of the Ports Authority's pilot, was received by Ports Manager of the Onne Ports. The Director General of NIMASA, Dr. Bashir Yusuf Jamo, says this development would enhance Nigeria's competitiveness in the maritime sector in the area of tonnage capacity and in attaining the status of a sub-regional hub. In a tweet, Dr. Jamo commended the Managing Director of the NPA, Ms. Hadiza Bala Usman, and her management team for providing the best-in-class professional support for the NPA pilots and Marines who were crucial in delivering on this major milestone of positioning Nigerian ports as the hub in the Gulf of Guinea. He says, despite the challenges of COVID-19, we are witnessing positive milestones in our maritime domain. Congratulations to the Hadiza Bala-led NPA management team. Environmental pollution all over the world is a true thing and it's happening every day. This takes us to the international scene where we'll be stopping at the IMO, that is the International Maritime Organization. That organization right now is taking some steps in helping some countries in dealing with environmental pollution.
The IMO is contributing to international efforts aimed at preventing an oil spill from the deteriorating floating storage and offloading unit, FSO Safer, moored off the coast of Yemen. The organization is also leading on the contingency planning efforts aimed at enhancing preparedness to mitigate the environmental impacts of a potential spill. The IMO has mobilized a technical expert to develop contingency plans based on a variety of risk scenarios which would play a key role in improving the efficiency, effectiveness, and management of emergency response operations in the event of a spill from the FSO Safer. The IMO will also provide training to the relevant actors. The expert is currently working remotely in close communication with all relevant stakeholders. Meanwhile, IMO has joined international efforts to assist the government of Mauritius following an oil leak from the bulk carrier MV Wakashio off the southeastern coast of Mauritius. The IMO and the United Nations Environment Programme, UNEP, United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA Joint Environment Unit, have jointly deployed an oil spill response expert. In another development, a new just-in-time arrival guide, which aims to provide both port and shipping sectors with practical guidance on how to facilitate just-in-time arrivals, has been released by the IMO. The guide has been developed by the Global Industry Alliance to support low-carbon shipping based on research and discussion among its membership, and the publication documents the findings of a series of industry roundtables which brought together nearly 50 companies and organizations who are key stakeholders in the port call process.
Introducing the new face of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA. We are charting the direction for a maritime and regulating the industry for a better, bigger, and more economically stable Nigeria. Evolved to serve you better. We are NIMASA. New face, rejuvenated service. NIMASA, changing the tides in your favor.
A wreck is a sunken or stranded ship. A ship may become a wreck as a result of collision or other navigational incidents, such as being washed ashore and abandoned. A shipwreck can be hazardous to the marine environment as a wreck can constitute impediment to safe navigation. Wreck and derelicts adversely affect the marine environment as they can cause accidents, polluted coastal waters. Marine life tourism also suffer from wrecks. According to the provisions of the Merchant Shipping Act, NIMASA is the receiver of wrecks in Nigeria. Where any wreck is determined to constitute a hazard, the receiver of wrecks shall ensure steps are taken to first mark the wrecks. The markings should conform with internationally accepted systems of buoyage. The particulars of these markings are communicated to mariners for safe navigation. NIMASA immediately informs the ship owner. The ship owner is expected to remove such vessels within a time frame given by NIMASA. In case the ship owner is not able to remove a wreck within the stipulated time and the deadline, NIMASA, as receiver of wreck, may remove the wreck at the expense of the ship owner. This is to be consistent with considerations of safety and protection of the marine environment and related interests.
Do you know who a seafarer is? Seafarers are the people who make the world go round. Seafarers are people who have been employed to work on the ships. They ensure smooth sailing of the ship while making sure that goods and services get to us from every part of the world. And despite the COVID-19 pandemic, this set of people are still working for the benefit of everyone. Wow! Let us celebrate these special people as they are the people who truly make the world go round. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA.
A retreat is a time to step away from routine, to reflect deeply on particular challenges, and to prepare and recharge. In this particular case, it's about governance.
There's no substitute to learning and thinking outside the box. A lot is expected. Shipping development is a must, but we should look at not just the competitive, not just the comparative, but the competitive angle. Like, even if you say you want manpower development, what area of manpower development? What should make Nigeria stand apart?
Introducing the new face of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA. We are charting the direction for a maritime and regulating the industry for a better, bigger, and more economically stable Nigeria. Evolved to serve you better. We are NIMASA. New face, rejuvenated service. NIMASA, changing the tides in your favor.
Accidents are part of life, and they also occur in the maritime sector. To ensure that accidents are well investigated with the aim of preventing such occurrence in future, the Merchant Shipping Act provides for NIMASA to investigate and inquire into shipping casualties in Nigerian waters. When accidents occur, NIMASA, on the authority of the Honorable Minister of Transportation, appoints an inspector to undertake a preliminary inquiry immediately after the incident. The inspector usually visits the site of the accident, board the vessel if need be, and interrogate officers on board and all those present during the unfortunate occurrence. The inspector is expected to submit a preliminary report within 14 days to the agency. The Minister of Transportation may from time to time constitute a marine board, having a magistrate as president and at least one nautical engineer or special skilled marine expert to make formal investigation into charges of incompetence or misconduct on the part of any officer of a ship. The Marine Board may cancel or suspend the certificate of any officer of a Nigerian ship if the Marine Board finds that the officer is guilty of incompetence, gross misconduct, drunkenness, or if any life was caused by the officer's wrongful act.
So with that, I say thank you again. I'll see you next time. Till then, remember to follow NIMASA on all her social media platforms. From YouTube to Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, they are all at NIMASA Official. And you could also follow the DG NIMASA on Twitter. He's at Jamo Bashir. Follow to know more about the industry. I'm Cordelia Oldman. Take care of yourself and bye-bye.